Okay, our next presenter is Carol Henderson. Professor Henderson received her Bachelor of Arts from the University of Florida and her law degree from George Washington University. She began her legal career as an assistant United States attorney in Washington, D.C. Presently, she is the founding director of the National Clearinghouse for Science, Technology, and the Law at Stetson University College of Law, where she is also a professor. Recognized as an international authority on forensic science and the law, Professor Henderson has written and edited more than 90 books, book chapters, and articles, as well as an encyclopedia, and appeared in popular and professional media, and presented hundreds of lectures and workshops worldwide to the legal, law enforcement, and scientific communities. Professor Henderson was accepted into the jurisprudence section of the Academy in 1984 and served in various section and Academy positions, including as Academy President from 2008 to 2009. She currently serves on the International Affairs Committee, the Forensic Science Foundation think tank, and the Amicus Committee. She also serves as a liaison between the Academy and the ABA Science and Technology Law section. Please help me welcome one of my personal mentors within the Academy, Professor Henderson.
Good morning. Well, when I was president, I will tell you it was an adventurous year. In 2009, we had certain initiatives that I put in place. One was better communication, also an emphasis on education and research, collaboration, and ethics. The meeting was in Denver. At the time of the business meeting, that is when the National Academy of Sciences NAS report, as you all know, was issued. So we had many different challenges and advances that we have to discuss, but I'm only going to talk about 3 of them. We also had an ethics complaint, and also we found someone to be expelled or should have been expelled from the Academy, and the person then wanted to appeal the board's decision, which was upholding the ethics committee's decision. So we had, and I guess Doug said that we don't have too many contentious meetings. This was one where we had to have the membership vote from the floor as to whether to uphold the board's decision or not to expel the individual. So that was at least a more interesting meeting than we usually have. Okay, the 3 things I want to talk about today, though, are forensic science education for lawyers and judges, a little bit about ethics, and also about forensic science research and resources. We've had a lot of discussions now about we need more money for research, but the real issue is how do we then gain access to that research? So this was February 18th in 2009 in Denver, and that is when the NAS report came out. I'm only going to talk about one of the recommendations that I'm sure all of you, I hope, have read the entire report, but I'm going to talk about recommendation number 10. There were 13 recommendations with the report. Recommendation 10, and this is again a succinct version of it, is to support establishing continuing legal education programs in forensic science for law students, practitioners, and judges. Many complaints by the forensic scientists were that lawyers don't know anything about science, and particularly about forensic science. So we need to educate those lawyers, and in fact start with the law students in this area. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what has happened since 2009 and recommendation number 10. We have made some inroads in terms of forensic science education for both judges and lawyers. The National Judicial College has been doing this for years, and in fact, they just received another grant back in 2015 to go ahead and do more education for judges in forensic science. They've had for many years, and many Academy members also teach in this program. For regular judges, we'll go ahead, trial judges will come in for a 2-week course or sometimes even just a 2-day course just on forensic science. The American Bar Association realized that this is a real issue as well, and in 2015, there was a House resolution that was made that there should be more education for lawyers and judges in particular about forensic science. Then the National Commission, of course, then decided that we should have also a curriculum development program. This was in December 8th, 2015, and the recommendation you can download and take a look at that. Now we have to see if they're going to put that into place. Again, these are directives that are coming from the Commission, but then it has to be funded and put into place as well. There has been some funding through BJA in several respects, both for the National Judicial College. They received some funding, and I can tell you that the clearinghouse that I run also received some funding. We have what is known now as the Capital Case Litigation Initiative, Crime Scene to Courtroom Forensics Training. What we're doing is we're building webinars, and we've done 3 so far, which I'll talk about in a minute, and we do in-person training sessions around the country as well. So far, we have trained, in the first 3 sessions, we have trained almost 1,000 lawyers. And again, the concentration in this is on capital litigators, both prosecutors and defense counsel who do death penalty cases. The first one we did in terms of a webinar, and it's all free for anybody in the world to take a look at, is on crime scene. So we had crime scene essentials, actually built a crime scene and then took people through the crime scene. The second one was on laboratories. So we had crime laboratory essentials and took people through a tour of a laboratory. We used the Nashville Metro Police Laboratory, which is brand new, and showed everybody the instrumentation. So again, this is a virtual tour, so you can go ahead and look at it. And we keep everything, we do it live, but then it's kept on demand. The live sessions, people will go ahead and write in questions, and then the speakers will answer them in real time, and then people can look at it on demand later. All right, we also then have an autopsy, and I can see Dr. Downs here, who assisted me in this. So what Jamie did is actually, we had to get special permission, I will tell you this, from the Justice Department. They said, you want to do what? I said, I want to have a live autopsy and have people be able to see this. Okay, a live autopsy, yes, I knew Ed would joke about that. So that's why I said, look at what is on the internet. Why don't we show them what actually should be done in an autopsy? And so we did have to password protect it, but the General Counsel's Office of BJA gave us permission to do this. So now if you want your password, you'll have to call me, but then you can go ahead and actually see this take place. And it is very, very educational. I have to say the feedback from the lawyers who said, I have never seen something like this, now it makes perfect sense. There's very different seeing rather than just reading about something or even looking at still pictures. It's different to see the real deal. Another thing that's going on right now is, this is again, I always say, forensic science is global, not local. And one of the things they're doing in the United Kingdom is they have what they call a primer or primer project. What the judges and the lawyers did is said, we really need to have little handbooks, like a primer. How do we know the real deal about DNA, for example? And John Butler, who of course I think most of you know here at the Academy, is doing the first primer on DNA. And then they're going to go through all the different areas of forensic science and publish these. So again, it's another way that the legal community can learn about forensic science. Now, the American Bar Association is also publishing certain things that are concentrating on forensic science. The ABA Judicial Division had a special issue in the summer, and I have to say, Judge Dimitrovich, I don't know if I see her here, but she was the editor of this particular issue. And then we have the Science and Technology Law section publication, which is going to come out this summer, and that is also going to concentrate just on forensic science. So again, we're getting the legal community up to speed in terms of forensic science. Now, we did say that we had some ethical issues. Now, some inroads have been made, again, in the role of ethics in forensic science and law. And this is just to show kind of a timeline here. We had the ethics code for ASCLD Lab, and again, I will compliment past President Ken Melson, who has been at the forefront of this from the beginning in terms of making sure that we have really good ethics codes. Then, of course, the National Commission adopted an ethics code similar to the ASCLD one. Then the U.S. Department of Justice Scientific and Research Integrity Policy has been put into place, and you can see that we have a citation for this. And now the American Bar Association, again, we're trying to work with law and science together, has roundtables to correct errors. Also, NIST has done a lot of work in terms of having errors conferences, which is important to say. Errors occur. That is just normal. So how we deal with errors is really the change. Instead of sweeping things under the rug or autopsy table or wherever you want to put something, now we're saying, this is the reality. We might as well say, how are we going to correct the errors and then proceed accordingly? One of the things everybody's been saying is we need more money for research. And then I said, well, that's great. So if we have all this research, how are you going to find it? Where is the research available? Is there any one place? There really is no one place to find all the latest research. But you're going to build on others' research, so we have to make sure that there's an available resource or resources that people can access easily. So I think we really need easy access to this research and any other information. Now, I'd like to commend, I saw a presentation, not this year, but last year, Jeff Teitelbaum out of Washington State Patrol has these wonderful RSS feeds that I get all the time. And this is another way of saying what's out there. You need a lot of eyes looking at what's available. No one person can know everything, especially in this day and age. So that's one of the things, is to find out, where do we have these resources? The other thing we just recently published, and this came out of an ABA presentation, it's the Sleuthing Scientific Evidence on the Internet, which has just been published in the Journal of Criminal Law and Criminology, and that has gone through every single resource that's on the Internet that has to do with forensic science. And so you can go ahead and take a look at that and say that we still can keep building on these different resources, which will make all of our lives, whether you're a scientist or a lawyer, better. Now, of course, Barry talked about PCAST, and I think all of us know that this is something that a lot of people are quite upset about. However, I want to make an analogy with, I would say, PCAST is sort of like the NASA program. All right, we're going to have certain things that are going to say there's going to be errors, there's going to be mistakes made. How do we deal with things like this? We didn't stop the race to the moon or Mars now or wherever else we're going. What we have to do, though, is collaborate and have communication, which is one of the themes that I had back when I was the president. If we don't talk about the issue, then it's not going to get resolved. We have a lot of very smart, hardworking people in the forensic science community. And one of the things we have to do is, again, talk about these issues, not sit there and I have to say bitch and moan about something. What you do is say, here's the problem, let's identify it. How do we perhaps educate the public? How do we educate other people in other professions? Maybe we do have, take a look in the mirror, maybe we have some real problems, and why don't we address them? Instead of complaining about them, let's address them. So if they can, put people on the moon, or maybe now Mars, I think we can fix the forensic science problems that we have, because we have a lot of people who are very dedicated to doing this. Okay, I wanted to also mention, here we are, all right, Betty Lane is going to be the 7th woman president in the 70th year of the Academy. And I just would like to congratulations to her. And I think that's important. As you saw, it took a while to get women involved in the organization, but I think if you look in sections, particularly criminalistics, there are a lot of women there. And we need more diversity. And I'm not just talking about women, I'm talking about people of color. We need a lot of difference because there's a diverse profession. And I think that's something, I know that we have a committee that we're working on that, and that's very, very important. But I would like to just say congratulations again to Betty Lane, and I hope that she has as much fun as I did when I was president, okay? As you see, Bruce was trying to put my chain of mail on. That's the old one, and we have a much better one now. So, but thank you very much.